Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Blue and we're here with another Splitgate video for the awesome esports scene that is growing for the game of Splitgate. Now, I think 2 weeks ago, maybe it was, we did a video for the power rankings, and I've realized that the way that the system works in the Splitgate series, where it's a monthly finals, so it's 3 weeks of open bracket qualifiers, and the top 8 teams qualify for the 4th week, where they can fight for a $2,000 prize. Kind of doing, a power rankings every single week wouldn't really make sense in that situation, considering the fact that, if in this case Bork, they won the week 1 qualifier, in my mind they're always going to be number 1 because they don't have to play, or they can't play, the other 2 open bracket weeks. And the teams that do qualify but they don't really make it to the finals and win that week, they can keep playing, but the power ranking system really doesn't work. So I thought maybe we can do a power rankings after each monthly finals. That way, we can kind of gauge where the teams are at going into the next monthly finals. But today's video is going to be talking about the bracket for this month's finals, and there's 8 teams. It's the first monthly final, so this is a big deal for Splitgate and these teams and these players as well, and we're just going to dive right into it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket as it stands for this month's finals. We have Bork going up against Lynx, Calamity going up against Cavemen, Lycotekis going up against Hivemind Echelon, and Athena going up against Entice. Now, there were 3 open bracket qualifiers. Bork won the first week of those. Lycotekis was the team that won the second week, and then Athena won the third week. Now, Entice didn't play in week 3. They did opt to play in week 1 and week 2. Hivemind Echelon played in week 3, but not week 2. Cavemen played, I think, in all 3 weeks. Calamity played in weeks 1 and 2. I believe they might have played in week 3. I actually forgot to check on them. But Lynx played in week 3 as well, most recently. Now, Bork, Lycotekis, and Athena, or more so Lycotekis and Bork, did win weeks 1 and 2, so they weren't able to play in any of the other weeks afterwards. So Bork wasn't able to play in week 2 or week 3 because they had already won. Lycotekis wasn't able to play in week 3. Those are actually your top 2 teams in my mind going into this tournament. There are some sleeper picks, however, and we're going to cover that right now. So the first matchup is Bork versus Lynx. Bork is the one who won the community tournament, where they had the dev team going up against them as well. And the dev team with Rapson and company have been throughout the entire tournament a pretty solid team, but they were unfortunate enough to where they didn't make it into this. I think they competed under the name Swag. So Bork is a really good team, and Lynx has been showing some promise, but week 3 didn't go exactly how they would have wanted. And for this team, they're going to be coming in with the roster. Let's look at the rosters here. We have Bitey, Kaki, Hypnos, and Arline coming for the side of Bork. And for the side of Lynx, we have Avery the Furry, Adam, Snow, and Bruiser. Now, Snow and Bruiser are pretty solid players within themselves. Adam and Avery are pretty much the hard carries for this Lynx roster. And I think that they're going to have to really show their utmost potential against this Bork lineup, which has looked pretty dominant here in the start of the Splitgate esports scene. Bitey, Kaki, Hypnos, Arline, all great players so far in this scene, and I think that Bork and the boys will be able to overcome Lynx, and I think that they're going to take this 3-0 actually. So our next matchup is Calamity versus Cavemen, and Calamity over the last couple weeks has had some roster issues. They've had to use subs a couple times, so it was kind of not the likely situation that they would have liked. They'll be coming in with Renru, Ninja, Seiya, Yeti, and Akuvo. Nulty will be their sub coming in as well, or I believe Nulty is the main lineup. I can't remember. He did play 1 week, so someone from Calamity drop a comment below and let me know who's going to be that starting lineup. But the real core of this lineup is Renru, Ninja, Seiya, and Yeti. They've been there time in and time out for this team. I think Calamity is a very good team that has had some unfortunate strat problems because they've had to play with a sub, so be interesting to see Calamity with their full roster going into this. For the side of the Cavemen, though, they'll have the Griffin TV, Antonio ACS, Gilly Duck, and Wet Doorknob. Wet Doorknob, I think, did not play in week 2, but he is a solid player from week 1 and week 3. Griffin TV and Antonio have been the quote-unquote hard carry for this roster. I think Cavemen are still lacking in their mechanics, and they're not able to take maps off of these top teams at a consistent pace at this time. So I think that Calamity is going to come out and take this one, and I think that they're going to take it in a 3-0 as well. Remember, by the way, I forgot to mention, unlike the open qualifiers, all of these games or all of these matches will be a best of 5. So best of 5s going out throughout the entire bracket. Up next, though, we have Leica Techies and Hivemind Echelon. Hivemind actually had a really good week in week 3. They were able to beat the dev team Swag. They went on to beat Lynx, I believe, as well. So they had a really good week. Unfortunately, they weren't able to make the finals, but they're going up against a really tough roster in Leica Techies. You have Bus Driver, Raza Plaza, Is Ruben, and Zaro7. Now, like I said in the power rankings video, from what I've heard and what I've seen in chat, Bus Driver is the real deal. I believe this is a European squad as well. Raza Plaza is no short of making plays as well. I saw them play one match, and they looked like they were the real deal. Bus Driver and Raza Plaza showing up huge for their team, getting some clutch kills, making some plays as well. I think Leica Techies will be able to beat Hivemind Echelon in a 3-0. Hivemind, though, no short of making plays on their side with Soda Pop, Shrine, Babe, and Slim Brady. You're going to have to look at Soda Pop and Slim Brady for this squad, as they were making some great plays while they were playing the Swag team on the broadcast in week 3. So they're looking pretty strong within themselves. But still, I think Leica Techies are just that good, and they're going to be able to 3-0 the Hivemind Echelon squad. Last but not least, in the first round, we have Athena versus Entice. Athena won the week 3 open bracket qualifier, and Entice, I don't believe, played, but they did play in week 1 and week 2. They were formerly a different name. And they look really good. I think they were under the name 4 Kings before, and they look really good. Don't know why they didn't play if they didn't in week 3. But Athena's roster, they're coming in with K-Jules, Numb, Chasen, and Chunkman. And this is a really good lineup within this. You have K-Jules, you have Numb. They've been making some plays. Chasen and Chunkman have been able to pick up some kills early on in games against some of the top teams as well. So I'm going to be looking at that core 3 there in Jules, Numb, and Chasen. Mainly Numb to see what he can do. And they've been going back and forth which one of these guys is going to be able to grab that sniper rifle, which one's going to run the shotgun. So be interesting to see which one does what and how they're able to come out, if they are able to come out on top. For the side of Entice, though, you have Excite, Jack, Macro Style, and Frozen. These names on this roster, besides Jack, when they're playing, they don't really pop out to me. They don't really, this guy's on this team, they're going to do something. This guy is going to make some crazy plays. They don't really jump out at me per se, but they do make plays together as a team. I think Entice is pretty strong. And overall, I think that this is going to go the distance. I think it's going to be a 3-2 in favor of Entice. I think Entice have a little bit of an edge. I think Athena didn't have as strong of a bracket when they won the finals, and they're just picking up some steam. But Entice has had a little bit more steam underneath themselves since the very beginning of this monthly bracket. So going into the second round of my projected picks is Bork versus Calamity. I think Bork still is going to beat Calamity. I think it's going to be a 3-1 in favor of Bork. And Calamity is good, yes, but Bork is better than Calamity. With Calamity having their full roster, I think they'll be able to steal one game away from Bork. But at the same time, Bork could 3-0 them. This could go 3-2 as well, but I predict it to be a 3-1. I think Calamity will be able to take one map off of Bork, but I think Bork will be able to regroup and regain their composure and be able to take down Calamity. They did beat them in the finals for week 1. Calamity didn't have a very strong week 2, and remember, they were playing with a sub, so that could come into play with their full roster. Are they able to contend with Bork, beat Bork? Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. But if you ask me, once again, I think Bork's going to move on 3-1 here. Our second matchup of the semifinals would be Lycotekis and Entice. I think Entice would be able to steal one map away from Lycotekis with some, not to say they're better than Techies to win a map, but I think that they're able to hang with them long enough to grind out a win if they are able to get some key plays. And it also depends on if they have the map pick for that, if they're able to play a game mode that suits their play style. That all comes into play. I think they'll be able to steal one map off Lycotekis, but I have Lycotekis beating Entice 3-1. And then the finals, Bork versus Lycotekis. I think this is the matchup everybody wants to see. A lot of people say Bork's the best because they won that community, the Icon Invitational. They won the first week of this tournament or this monthly qualifier. Then you have Lycotekis, who have had all this hype built up around them. They're one of the very few European squads that are in here trying to make a name for themselves. So I think this will be a fantastic final if it happens to be Bork versus Lycotekis. And I think this will go the distance. Once again, it's the best of 5. And I think Bork just edges out with the win 3-2. I think Lycotekis are finally going to have their hype kind of, humbled, for lack of better words, by the boys at Bork. I think Bork has just been, they've been grinding. They're really good. And Lycotekis are the same way. But with Bork having more of a winning background like the Icon Invitational and then coming in and dominating the first week of open qualifiers, although Lycotekis didn't play in that bracket, I think that, to me, that gives them a slight edge for them to come out on top. But who knows, this could go the opposite way. It could be Lycotekis beating Bork. That could very well happen. And it could also be a 3-0 in either side. It could be a 3-2. It could go either way. I'm really excited to see if Bork and Lycotekis can meet in the finals. So that's my predictions for the bracket for the first monthly finals of the Splitgate tournament. It is called the Divergence Series. You can follow them on Twitter at Splitgate. Don't forget to join their Discord. Those links will be in the Twitter or in the description below, as well as mine. You can follow me on Twitter at RealBlueTV with no E in blue. And don't forget, you can join the Console Corner Discord, where we talk about esports. We talk about Paladin, Splitgate, Rocket League, all kinds of esports. Call of Duty, you name it, we're probably talking about it. So go ahead and hit those links in the description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and keep grinding.